Hey there, welcome to My Week After the Show. In the show this week, we wanted to get to the terrorist attacks that occurred in Belgium. And, you know, when you woke up that morning and you saw what had happened, it's just that sick feeling that runs through. But then again, you know what happens starts to change the conversation in the presidential race. You have Ted Cruz going out there saying that we should step up surveillance of Muslim neighborhoods in the most generic form that he put. He was on CBS this morning. I saw it. He said, well, there are neighborhoods, and he even mentioned Dearborn, that, we should be increasing surveillance. And you have pushback from law enforcement, especially in New York, saying this is absolutely...
No one in law enforcement said this was a good idea.
You were out of your skull.
Maybe Sheriff Arpaio.
Or national security.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, but you would think that ISIS is trying to elect Donald Trump. I mean, every time something like this happens, it sends a shock of fear throughout the country, and they start resonating to these calls to ban Muslims, to shut the borders, no refugees, and it works, and that's why you have Ted Cruz piling on, in his desperate attempt to capture the nomination.
Why does it work?
Well, because
people are afraid.
Partially because people are afraid, and partially because the Republican Party has spent 50, 60 years appealing to people's worst instincts on stuff like this and trying to, paint our problems as the function of certain people's color or certain people's religions. Again, this is the destruction of the party that we're witnessing, because this will not play in November. On a national scale. I mean, you look at the models, the predictive models for November already, the kinds of margins that someone like Donald Trump would have to run up among white voters to outdo the other support. We've got to sort of reset and start talking about this stuff in a different context, and it's the burden's on the Republican Party to do that.
You look at the polls, Steve, and it's not just Republicans resonating to this. It's like 60% of the country fall in line with Donald Trump's position.
He will not win. He will not win 60% of the vote in November.
This is not, well, it depends who votes.
We'll make a bet. Let's make a bet.
It depends who votes. I mean,
I want to make a bet now. I'm going to write it down on my scratch piece of paper.
He loses by 10 points.
I think he is resonating with a lot of people out there who are afraid, frustrated, they don't know where to turn, and you've got a lot of independents, you've got a lot of Democrats voting for Trump in those primaries. I don't know if you can predict what's going to happen in November, since we've been wrong at every step of the way during this presidential race. The enthusiasm for Hillary Clinton is very low. We don't know what's going to happen with the FBI probe. We could be sitting here in July with two candidates running for president who are not even on the ballot for either party.
I think you could say, yeah, what could we have? What could we be also talking about in July? It also, looking at foreign policy, looking at the world, and looking at things that are happening. I mean, there could be attacks in different areas, and that could change the entire conversation of security in our country as well.
The conversation could get a lot uglier.
Yeah,
exactly. All right. Well, that's going to do it. It's My Week After the Show. We'll see you next week.